Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our study group for June 20th, 2024. This is our 125th study group. I'm so excited about that. Today we're going to be working through the BABOK, our Business Analysis Body of Knowledge. This is our study group for Chapter 5, Knowledge Area 3, Requirements Analysis and Design Definition. We worked on Chapter 5 last week, but we did not get the answers we needed for our practice test questions. So we're going to do it again, and we're going to do better. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the president of the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. I am also the vice president of professional development. All that means is I'm here for you. It's my job to bring you the mentoring or the education that you need as a business analyst. If you don't know what business analysis is, let's talk. I'm gonna go on a side note here. I spoke to a young lady not long ago, and I said, I think you got more business analysis experience than you think. And she says, no, I organize police departments and SWAT and ICE and stuff to take down criminals. And I said, and I went through all of the knowledge areas, and she said, yes, I did all those things. I said, that was business analysis. You just didn't know that's what you were doing. It's business analysis. We are a volunteer-led organization. Our vice president of membership is Cliff Gray. You see him there in the Millennium Falcon. Yulia is our vice president of finance. We have our board members at large, Uche, Vivian, Esther, and Alicia. They are invaluable to us. We could not run without these guys. So a big thanks to each of them. We are an international organization, which means that we have people that are members of our chapter from all over the world. We have people that are attending from all over the world, and we have people that are involved with us through our YouTube videos. We welcome you all. If you are part of the IIBA or joining the IIBA and you don't have a local chapter or don't have a chapter, you're welcome to join ours. You're welcome to ours. You're going to be home with us. We give you several ways to join us. We have our Thursday evening study group from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We also have LinkedIn groups, meetup groups. Our Zoom online is the same address every week. Our study group materials are on Google Drive, and I'll flash that to you in just a minute. We also have meetings recorded. We have over 100 hours of meetings recorded on YouTube. The IIBA website is TampaBayIIBA.org. We study mostly on these three certifications from the IIBA, the ECBA, the CCBA, and the CBAP. The CBAP is for professionals that have at least 5 years of experience. The CCBA is about 3 years of experience, and the ECBA, you don't have to have any experience. You just have to understand the material and be able to pass the test. The other 4 certifications are very valuable as well, but we don't focus on them quite as much because we want to get you through these. If you need more information about any of these, you're welcome to reach out to me through LinkedIn. We like to celebrate our wins. We have a new person, Seema Pandey. She reached out and said that the Tampa Bay chapter was a big part of her being able to pass her certification. These are the people that have let us know that our work has been a big part of them being able to pass their certification, and we're very grateful. 2 of these folks, Esther and Yulia, have come on board as our board members, and we are very grateful for that as well. We also have advisors. Esther and Yulia are advisors. Uche is also an advisor from our board. And Bob Churchill. Bob Churchill has a special place in our heart because he's been running Lunch and Learns and being an advisor for our group for a very, very long time. He has a fantastic website. I'm going to flash for you in just a minute. It's rpchurchill.com. Watermark Learning has been our constant companion throughout this journey. They've given all of our members and all of our viewers a discount code of Tampa Space 21 for their products. They have flashcards for business analysis and project management, as well as classes that are in person, online, and practice test questions. So you can get 20% off if you use that code. So let me pull a couple of things over here so you can see these. Can everyone see Watermark Learning here?
Not yet.
Not
Yes.
yet. Okay.
Oh, we
yes,
see the
can.
discount code. That's
okay. Let me share it differently then. I need to go here. Sorry, guys. I got to change my way I'm sharing. I'm going to share the entire window of this right here. Okay, now you should be able to see this. Can you see our YouTube channel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. So I told you I would be showing you a few things. This is our YouTube channel. We have hours and hours and hours of meetings on here. We have some that have almost 100 views that are particularly related to our practice test questions. We've gone through the BABOK at least twice in some of these areas. To figure out what you want to look on, which one you want to look at, go to Bob Churchill's website, rpchurchill.com. Go down here to Tampa IIBA Study Group, and here are our Google Drive and our YouTube. But if you scroll down to the bottom, a lot of work went into this, guys. Look at this. Here's links by BABOK knowledge area. So for Chapter 3, you've got 5 hours of practice test questions. For Chapter 4, which is knowledge area 2, you've got 5 hours of practice test questions. Then here's other chapters that are not knowledge areas. Then here are the techniques. We've gone through them several times, and Bob has blog posts for every single one of them. So this is important for you to know that is available to you, whether you're a member of ours or not. We welcome you as a member, but you have access to them regardless. If you're not a member of the IIBA, you have a 7-day trial period with the IIBA through the Knowledge Hub. The Knowledge Hub has over 11,000 books in it, including the BABOK, which is our business analysis book of knowledge, and a bunch of project management and Agile books that are really, really valuable, as well as magazine articles, blog articles, all kinds of stuff. So there's information on the website about that, so you can just sign up for that. Also, if you're interested in getting your certification this month of June 2024, if you apply during this month, you can save $50 off your certification application. You just have to go in and be a member to do that. Okay, we are ready to start the practice test question. We're going to begin a new exam on watermark. Let's see, we're doing requirements analysis and design definition. We're going to get drill feedback options after each question, and let us begin. Those of you who have not participated in this before, I'm going to be reading the question. I'll read all 4 answers. I need you to tell me what the correct answer is according to the BABOK. If you can come off of mute, that would be appreciated. If you can be on camera, that is even better. The conversation that we have about why a certain answer is better than another answer is what makes us so much more valuable. So please participate. I need at least 2 answers before I'll go on and check the answer. So the first one is, Kevin wants to model.
Excuse me, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just a sec too.
We were doing requirements lifecycle management, chapter 5.
Did I get the
You
wrong
did
one?
chapter 6, I think.
You're right. Thank you so much. Chapter 5. I appreciate you. Okay, let's do chapter 5. Carla and her team have identified
real quick, didn't you have 2 chapters checked?
Thank you. Let me fix it. Okay, this is what we're doing. Thank you. Let's do it right.
Team effort.
Yes, that's what we are. Okay, requirements must be blank to be managed, as stakeholders cannot consent to the requirements they are not aware of. So requirements must be documented, elicited, communicated, or defined.
D, defined.
You like that answer? Why?
Oh, defined.
Okay. You like
documented. I would say documented. I'm not sure though.
It's okay. Tell me why you like defined, Andrea.
I've been reading the chapter, and I think it's the first word that comes up. First, you define them. Documented is kind of another step. And communicated is after you finish approving it, and elicited, well, it's part of the defining. So
okay,
yeah, but the management. Okay.
So stakeholders cannot consent to requirements they're not aware of. How do we make them aware? Is it by defining them, communicating them, eliciting, or documenting? I've got two people saying A.
Yeah.
Let's check in and see what the answer is. Okay. Documenting does not mean they're communicated. In addition, not all requirements on a project need to be documented. I don't agree with that, but okay. So communicated is
totally.
Okay. Requirements must be communicated to be managed, as stakeholders cannot consent to requirements they are not aware of, which is this sentence right here.
Ideally, the stakeholders are involved in discovering, identifying, and documenting the requirements, but every stakeholder is not necessarily involved in every activity. So for the ones who aren't, they also have to know. And then you get into the racy thing, who does what.
All right.
There is a key in the question, right? They cannot consent to requirements they are not aware of. So question providing you already a hint.
It does give us a hint.
Yep.
Okay. Let's go into the next one. Gibson works at a financial institution in Toronto. The company is undergoing a significant change. Gibson is accountable for the solution scope and can provide insight to be utilized when assessing the changes. What type of stakeholder is Gibson? Is he a sponsor, accountable executive, solution architect, or project manager? Guys, in our stakeholder list, is there even accountable executive listed?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
So
but he's a project manager.
Okay. He can provide, he's accountable for solution scope and can provide insight. You like project manager?
Yes.
What project manager does? I mean, we can eliminate, right? Very quickly. We know it's not a sponsor. We know it's not accountable executive because there is no such role in BABOK. So it's either solution architect or a project manager.
Mm-hmm. And the solution architect is not accountable for the solution scope. So I like project manager. Does everyone agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's check the answer. Ooh.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think solution architect is in the BABOK either. But if it is, it's not that role. The sponsor really chooses what gets done.
Okay. So the sponsor is accountable for solution scope. I think this
like
is
the sponsor is part of governance.
Say it again, Andrea.
Oh, sorry.
I was thinking that the sponsor would be part of the in projects at work we call governance. So the sponsor will be one of the persons that decide if this is in scope or not in scope. So the project manager does what the governance decide to do for most of the times. That's why I would think that sponsor. But when Julia said that sponsor was not definitely out, I was like, oh, maybe I shut up.
You see, nobody noticed accountable for solution scope, and I was focusing can provide insight. So you see, the question got me. Every single word matters. Yeah.
Yep.
Solution architect is not in that list of roles for stakeholders.
Okay, good to know. So we know the sponsor is accountable for solution scope and can provide insight to be utilized when assessing the changes. All right.
The project manager, just so you know, is usually interested in resources and schedule.
That's
so
true.
They kind of ride herd on the process.
Okay. Next question. What are the inputs for approved requirements? So this is a task. We have inputs. Is it requirements and design, requirements and verified designs, verified requirements and verified designs, and verified requirements and designs?
I would vote for D. I mean, C and D are essentially the same.
Same, yeah.
There's
I would
no
say
such thing as
C.
verified designs, though. That's the tricky part. So I think it's D because C is not there. That verified designs is not an output or an input, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
And
D too.
Why designs cannot be verified? I'm not getting.
Or it's
I
not
don't.
that they
Okay.
can, it's what it says in the BABOK.
Mhm.
Okay.
Let's check this answer. We'll see where
So
we're at.
These type of questions, unfortunately, logic does not work here or experience. You just need to memorize inputs, outputs.
Right.
Yep.
And knowing these little flow charts and the chapter heads and for each section, knowing that is key. And there's not a lot you can do. Sometimes you just have to know stuff. I mean, the way I think about it, everything is kind of verified and or validated in every phase. So nobody cares what I think. It's what the BABOK says.
It's what the BABOK says. Okay, we got that one right. Let's go to the next one. Which of the following statements is not true about the prioritization of requirements? Solution scope is not considered when prioritizing requirements. When a requirement is prioritized, it's given greater or lesser priority. Prioritization is an ongoing process with priorities changing as the context changes, or priority can refer to the relative value of a requirement or to the sequence in which it will be implemented. Which one is not true?
Okay.
A. I agree with A.
Tell me why you like A.
Because scope should be considered, right, when we are giving priority. So something may be out of scope just because we do not have resources to implement it.
Okay, let's check this answer. And it is correct. Solution scope is considered during the prioritization process to ensure the scope is managed, making this the correct answer. We got 2 right, guys. We're on a roll. Which of the following is not a consideration when approving requirements? Understanding stakeholder roles, governance approach, gaining consensus, or conflict and issue management?
I would say C.
Yeah,
I would say C too. Yep.
All right, let's see if we're right. Ooh. So BAs are responsible for ensuring that the stakeholders understand and accept the requirements as prerequisites to their approval. And governance approach is not one of the elements to approve requirements task. Okay, let's keep going. When can a requirement be prioritized? During the prioritize requirements and allocate requirements task. Only if documented constraints and assumptions required to be prioritized. Only during the prioritization of requirements, any time in its life cycle.
D.
D.
I think we're unanimous on that one. Yes. Every time you make a change, you get to reprioritize and reevaluate. If the solution team thinks that the requirements are not represented by the solution, which of the following would help them address their concerns? Requirements and design analysis, prioritize requirements, assess requirements change, or trace requirements? The requirements are not represented by the solution.
Did you trace the requirements?
Tell me why you think that.
I would think if you're saying if you're assuming that the requirements not being represented by a solution, you would want to backtrack to see what would the requirements be implemented and trace it back.
Okay. Do you have a second answer?
I think maybe A.
Yeah, I feel like A more because
yeah. Go ahead.
You go. Because it's about the analysis more. The trace of requirements is tracing between solution components or other requirements, but like the requirements and analysis, undesigned analysis would give you a full understanding if the requirement is part of the solution or not.
Okay. We've got 2 votes for A. Let's check the answer. Ooh.
Dang it.
Would definitely have gone with D.
Trace.
Because
this phrase does not appear in the BABOK.
Means that they have to be logically related to the overall design in a hierarchy that makes sense. And you want the solution to address the requirements, and you don't want the solution to include stuff that is not required.
Okay. Do we have any questions or conversation needed on this one?
And then there's also a second part. The BABOK only talks about tracing requirements in terms of making sure everything relates to each other. But there's also a traceability through the life cycle of the process, through different phases, which the BABOK does not talk about, but should.
I believe your framework talks about that, correct, Bob?
And that's why I bring it up. I wasn't going to mention that.
I did it for you. What is the purpose of assessing requirement changes? To know how many requirements have been documented, to evaluate the implication of proposed changes to the requirements and designs, to measure requirements metrics, or to analyze the root cause of a problem. I'm pretty sure this is not one of the answers.
B.
Yeah, B.
B.
Oh, got lots
B.
of B's. Let's
Lots
see
of
if that's the
Bs.
answer, and it is
Yay.
correct. The purpose of assessing requirement changes is to evaluate the implication of proposed changes to the requirements and design. Very good. Which technique would a business analyst use to identify business rules that may be similar across the enterprise in order to facilitate reuse? That word's important. Data flow diagrams, enterprise analysis, business rules analysis, or data modeling?
B.
To identify business rules
C.
that may be similar across the enterprise.
C.
Say it again.
I think it's B. Enterprise analysis.
No, enterprise analysis is not one.
Okay. Tell me why you think enterprise analysis. I saw a D in the text.
I was going to say it was because in the question it asked business rules that's across that's being used across the enterprise, and right. I'm assuming that you're doing like cross-functional analysis to see how the different organizations within the enterprise are related. So you're doing enterprise analysis. That's what I'm assuming.
Okay.
What about very straightforward?
I don't think.
Imagine you have a customer name. You have a customer name that is used by billing. You have a customer name that's used by the sales team. You have a customer name that's used by, I don't know, the credit department. All of those are the same business rule. Those business rules could be reused for the customer piece of data.
Right. Is that business rules analysis?
Yes.
Okay, let's check it. And it is correct. To identify business rules that may be similar across the enterprise for the purpose of reuse. I tell you, if you have business rules that use the same thing in different ways, it makes it hard. You need data governance in there. Requirements change assessment is an output of which of the following tasks? Is it requirements change assessment, approve requirements, assess capability gaps, or assess requirements change? So it's a task. You know, there's only 5 of them, right? In this chapter. Which one is it?
D. D.
Okay, I heard 2 Ds. Let's see if it's
D.
the answer. And it is. It is the second output of this task. Very good. Which of the following tasks are included in the requirements life cycle management knowledge area? So this is the whole knowledge area. Review project scope, determine stakeholder requirements, and approve requirements. So it's included. It means it's not going to list it all necessarily. Trace requirements, approve requirements, prioritize requirements, assess requirements, change, and maintain requirements. Stakeholder requirement review, requirements design, requirements traceability, requirements prioritization, and requirements design walkthroughs. Or trace requirements, analyze requirements, assess requirements change, and approve requirements changes.
B.
B.
But they're out of order, so they make it tricky.
They do. So what letter am I looking at?
B as in boy.
Thank you. Let's check it. Haha, look at you. Y'all are hot tonight. The purpose of prioritizing requirements is to rank requirements in the order of relative importance. Which of the following can be the location where prioritization is maintained? Would it be in the meeting minutes, decision register, repository, or backlog?
Repository.
So
You have a second vote.
I think so too.
Yeah, because backlog is also repository, right?
That's a word that we actually have seen in the BABOK. Some of these others, maybe. It's partially true.
Backlog.
It's a very general term, but there's a better answer. So the backlog management is used to compare requirements to be prioritized. The backlog can be the location where the prioritization is maintained. Okay.
Backlog is key for requirements, especially since Scrum and Agile have eaten the world. That's
true.
the word they love to use.
Yeah, we prioritize our backlog. I should have thought of that. In a requirements approval workshop, ROCO is responsible for providing opinion on the relationship between stated requirements and specific laws, either formally in an audit or informally as inputs to requirements lifecycle management tasks. What type of stakeholder is ROCO? Rocco, whatever his name is. Is he the domain? Is he a domain subject matter expert? Is he a sponsor? Is he a regulator? Or is he operational support?
C.
C.
Regulated.
Okay. And this is the stated definition of a regulator for the approved requirements tasks. Very good. Ed is the new business analyst working on the requirements for a large initiative to expand the functionality of an insurance product at his company. A senior BA told Ed that he should use a requirements management tool to trace the requirements for this effort. To make using the complexity of a requirements management tool worthwhile, what can be implied from the senior business analyst's suggestion? The number of requirements are quite extensive. There are multiple relationships between requirements for this project, poorly defined requirements, or there are relatively few requirements for Ed's project. We know it's a large initiative.
I would say A.
Do you have a second vote?
I would say B.
Why do you like
say
B?
A.
I think it's A because I remember reading something like that in the BABOK.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's check A.
that.
Okay, although it's not required, tracing a large number of requirements may be unmanageable with a manual approach. I have been on projects that had, 600 requirements and you had to keep it in a spreadsheet because it was before we had tools. It was hard. Which of the
It's
following is
hard
an
even
invalid
with
statement
tools.
about the approval of requirements? Adaptive approaches typically approve requirements just before construction and implementation of a solution begins. Project managers obtain approval by reviewing the requirements or changes to requirements with the accountable individuals. Predictive approaches typically perform approvals at the end of a phase or during a planned change control meeting, and approval of requirements and designs may be formal or informal, which is an invalid statement.
I feel like it's B.
B.
Why do we not like
B? Because what does it mean, accountable individuals? That doesn't sound something like they would say in the BABOK. It would be the stakeholders, not with individuals. You wouldn't approve by individuals. I think.
I don't like that. Okay. It says explicitly project managers. Why project manager? So
that's
it can be also.
Okay, let's check it. And this is done by the business analyst. You got it, Olga. Good job. The XYZ organization utilizes a change strategy for assessing requirements changes. What is the purpose of the change strategy for assessing requirements changes? Is it a change strategy provides guidance regarding the change control and decision-making process? A change strategy supplies information to assist in the managing stakeholder consensus regarding the needs of all stakeholders concerning a potential change. A change strategy describes legislative rules or regulations that must be followed, or a change strategy describes the purpose and context for changes and identifies the critical components for change.
D.
B as in boy?
D as in dog.
D as in dog. Okay, why do you like D, Jenny?
Because your change strategy is going to tell you the purpose and the reason that you're making the change. I'm using the same words that are in the answer, but that's what it is.
Okay.
And it says, well, you need a new database, or what are the critical parts of this that have to happen? That's what's in your requirements change assessment.
Okay, I like your logic. Do I have a second answer or another vote?
Frankly, I also like A and I like B and D.
Which
they
one?
All partially true.
Sounds like the BABOK.
I would say B.
I would say yeah. So this is this seems to be the closest to
what BABOK says, but I may be wrong. I don't know.
Okay, so did I hear several answers for B? As in boy?
Yep.
Okay.
D is also true.
I think D is more.
D was right.
This is
okay.
a question where the answer to this in this test is a paraphrase of what it says in 541. So actually, it says the purpose, so that should be 541. But this explanation here is saying 545. So
this is in the BABOK, but it's for a different task. We need to see it for this task.
Yeah, that's actually correct. So this question fooled me. They're talking about the change strategy and the purpose for that, and not the purpose for the entire task.
Right.
So these are tricky.
So it's 5.4 and not 5.5 is our challenge. Y'all, in case you're not aware, this is your chapter number, this is your task number, and then this is the place in the task that the information is at.
You have to imagine Louis Gossett Jr. up in your face saying, I will use every means fair and unfair to trip you up. And I'm sorry, making a movie reference from 1983 or thereabout.
Some of these people aren't that old, Bob. You gotta chill out. What are all the inputs required to assess requirements changes? Okay, inputs, we know this is a task. This task has specific inputs. So this is all of the inputs, so we know it's a whole list of all the inputs. Requirements, traceability, and needs analysis. Requirements, design, and proposed changes. Change control, design, and schedule, or benefit, cost, schedule, and urgency.
I think B.
I agree.
Tell me what you like.
Because that's
B.
the answer.
That's what's in the BABOK. But if you
Yeah.
think about it, you have your existing requirements, your existing designs, and you have a proposed change that's coming to upset your little world. So that's
where you get
the one
changed.
that fits.
Yeah, and also like requirements and designs are two of the inputs for the whole chapter. I don't remember the other two, but I'm pretty sure about those two. And so it eliminates all the others, basically.
It does eliminate all the others. You are so smart to realize that. So requirement, if it doesn't have requirements and design, it can't be even a possibility, right? Let's check the answer. And you're right. Of course.
Figure 541 shows exactly those three. So knowing those diagrams, critical.
Depending on the level of abstraction and intended need being addressed, requirements can be reused. Which is not one of the situations in which requirements can be reused? Is it within the current iteration, throughout the entire organization, within similar initiatives, or within the current initiative?
A is not written
A, yes,
correctly.
I agree.
Okay. Did I hear two A's? I think I heard two A's. Let's go on. Okay. Requirements can be reused within the current initiative. Iterations are short and focus on delivering unique functionality. The BABOK states that they can be reused during the current initiative. Okay, cool. They can. Isn't that backwards? Which is not one of the situations.
That's what I was thinking.
That's backwards. Okay, I'm clipping this one.
No, it's actually right.
Okay.
Iteration is not a word that's used, I think, in the BABOK. I love that word, but the BABOK doesn't beat on it, and it does talk about all the other things.
Oh.
Okay.
If they had said initiative.
I'm going to clip it so that I can look at it later, and we can go on. Okay,
I think
next.
it's a tricky word there.
And I love seeing these questions are goofy, but I'll defend them on this one.
Defend it till his death. Mary, while analyzing the requirements for a new procurement system, finds that if the preferred supplier list is set up in the new system, it will be easier to enter a purchase. What kind of requirements dependency is she looking at? Is it a requirements dependency of necessity, effort, depends, or subset?
Effort.
Effort.
Oh.
Okay, let's check it. This relationship exists when a requirement is easier to implement if a related requirement is also implemented. Very good.
Yeah, the keyword is easier.
Easier. Yep. Effort and easier. We want easy effort, right? Approval of requirements in an organization that is geographically dispersed is done formally with each stakeholder who has authority. Which method might be used for requirements approval? Formal verbal approval is permissible because of the international nature of the organization. Face-to-face sign-off with the business analyst and project manager. Written approval is required to ensure compliance with SSIT regulations and the approval method stated in the business analysis governance approach. Guys, is SSIT even in the BABOK? I don't think so.
I haven't seen it.
D?
Okay.
I think it's D.
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 D as dog.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I hear B?
No, dog.
D as dog.
D.
D is a dog. Sorry, guys. D's and B's sound the same. So if you tell me what the word is, it works better. Yes, we obtain approvals by using the methods and means established in planning, business analysis, governance, which is what we did before, earlier in the project. Jonathan obtained sign-off on his requirements from 3 stakeholders. One of those stakeholders is the regulator. What should Jonathan discuss with this stakeholder? So discussing with the regulator would be company legal and regulatory standards for sign-off, project risk and the review approval process, implementation concerns, or organization value. Which one of these is the regulator interested in?
A.
A.
All right. Very good. There are several types of relationships the business analyst considers when defining the traceability approach. What type of the following describes the relationship between a functional requirement and a solution component that is implementing it? Would it be satisfy, necessity, depends, or derive?
Satisfy.
I'm sorry, say it again.
A.
A.
Okay. Very good. A satisfy relationship exists between an implementation element and the requirement it is satisfying. To maintain stakeholder support for the solution, consensus among stakeholders is usually sought prior to requesting approval of requirements. Which of the following stakeholders would you most closely work with to play an active role in reviewing and approving requirements and designs to ensure needs are met? Would it be the tester, the customer, the regulator, or the consultant?
Customer.
The customer.
Customer.
Yeah, the key is.
I think the tester, but I don't know.
Well,
because the tester is the one testing it.
So those of you who think customer more than tester, why do you think that?
I think that the customers have the specific needs. The testers are testing that the requirements do what they're supposed to do, but the customer is the one who's actually approving the need or is looking to have the need fulfilled.
It says it says it's usually thought prior to requesting approval of requirements.
Yeah, so you wouldn't be testing yet.
Right.
Approving being the key word. Yeah, I switched mine to customer.
I think you're right.
Hopefully that's it. Okay.
So if they were reviewing the requirements to be sure the requirements were being met, I would say it's the tester, but they're reviewing and approving the requirements. And we know testers don't get to approve anything. They just kind of get stuff thrown at them and then they have to prove it's either true or false. Okay, next.
Customer ultimately has to sign off on everything.
3 of the following statements are inaccurate about prioritization. So which one of these 4 is the one that's accurate? Stakeholders are sometimes rigid and priorities are unlikely to shift as the context evolves and as more information becomes available. Once the implementation team has provided the cost of each requirements are baselined and prioritization is complete. Prioritization is an assessment of absolute value. Each stakeholder may value something different, or stakeholders may intentionally indicate priority to influence the result to their desired outcome.
I think it's C. And I just say that because I remember the BABOK saying that, you know, each person may value something different, and that's why you have conflict.
I would vote for D.
You
It's
like
just
D better?
yeah, because like my experience says that stakeholders tend to prioritize.
Right.
Well, C
Their little world.
conflicts with itself. The first sentence disagrees with the second sentence. So that whole answer may be goofy.
I don't
That's
like
true.
This absolute value, because there's no such thing as absolute value. The value is always relative.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
So I'm hearing more argument for D.
Yeah, I think it's D as well.
Okay, let's
And why do they ask the question this way? Why don't they just say which one is true?
Just a way to mess with you. Have this knowledge base on the one hand, it's intricate and there's a lot of it, but it's hard to test because it's really not that bloody hard. Most of the difficulty is playing around with word games on the test. So you're really taking two tests. One is on the subject matter, one's on whatever wordy games they're doing because they want to be clever. And it's another way to throw you off. It's just
Bob,
part of the game.
But you said before that this test is really harder than the actual test that we're taking, and some of the questions are wonky. So if we can figure this out, we're going to be just fine on the regular test.
The actual test, I think the questions, it's not easy, but they're more straightforward and more consistent.
Okay. Last question. You're working on a major new inventory management system and are responding to a request for better reporting from it. You need a tool or method to describe the purpose and direction for the request, establish the context for it, and identify the critical components of the request. What do you choose to help guide you? Would it be a statement of work, a change strategy, a business case, or a project vision document? Remember, what does the BABOK say?
B.
Say it again.
B as in boy.
Okay. Do I have a second vote?
A is definitely not out. D is definitely out. C, I don't remember necessarily seeing. B definitely is in there.
I remember seeing C in there as it provides support for change.
So you're looking for a tool or method to describe the purpose and direction for this request.
Exchange strategy.
So you're working on a project and you want better reporting from it. So it's like an additional thing, I think. And you need a tool to say, this is what we need in addition to what we're already working on.
I think it's the business case, because the change strategy should tell you how you go from current state to future state. I don't know.
Well, that doesn't sound like the same as a thing to describe the purpose and direction of the request.
I agree with that logic, but I can't find it in the book.
Okay. So what do we want to
Doesn't
say?
mean it's not
I
there.
would go with C.
I would go with C as
Being
well.
capped.
Okay, let's go with C. We'll check it. We'll learn together.
Oh,
dang it.
Talk
yourself out
right.
of it.
confusing.
I know. This answer describes the definition of the guideline and tool in the assess requirements changes task. Thank you for whoever suggested the correct answer. So sorry we talked ourselves out of it. The business case is a
Sorry.
technique in the assess requirements change task and is used to justify proposed change. Guys, making mistakes on this is cool. We learn from it. We get better, we learn better, we do better. This is what we want to do before we go take the test, right? So let's make mistakes here if we have to.
And I don't know about
Okay.
you, but that's the way I remember. You never remember the stuff you did right. You remember the stuff that cost you. You did wrong.
Yeah.
Also, if you have a copy of the BABOK, right, and finishing around through things, while we do these, get you to know the BABOK a little bit and makes it easier to read on your own. When I took the exam, when I studied, I did not read the BABOK ever and still passed. But it's a good idea to actually read this. It really makes things way simpler. And I had another source that concentrated on the inputs and outputs, so essentially those diagrams. And they were very helpful.
Right. Well, guys, we made a 76 on that, all of us working together. Typically, we think that if you make at least a 70 on your actual exam, you'll probably pass. So we're not doing bad. We worked together and we learned some stuff, so we're getting better than we did last week. Next week, we're going to work on chapter 6. And we have about 9 minutes left. I have been receiving quite a number of questions, people asking about getting your applications ready to turn in, especially since you get a $50 off discount this month. Julian, you have a question?
Yes. So I was watching a video. I don't know if it was the week before, or if it's an older video, but I heard you say at the end that it was like it's a percentage of people that pass, not necessarily what you score. Is that correct?
That's true. Yeah, it's true. It's kind of the top third of the people pass the test kind of thing. We don't know exact numbers. I'm going to say that now. We don't know exact numbers, but I was told that it's kind of a sliding scale based upon people's performance in the test currently. So top third, you're probably going to pass. Now, if everybody's doing horribly and you're still in the top third, you're still going to pass, even if you do horribly, right? So my thing is I'm going to aim for 80% or better. And that way I know I'm going to pass. I don't have to be stressed about it. You know, it's like, I know I can achieve 80%. For sure, I'm going to be okay.
I thought my score on the CBDA exam was terrible, but I still passed. I was one of the first 116 to pass. So everybody else must have really stunk on that one.
Andre, you have a question?
Oh, I just wanted to share my experience. I saw the discount of $50 off, and so I went through and paid for the application and hadn't filled in the application.
Yeah.
And then I rushed to put on the application. But yeah, I think because you have 7 days to change it, it's not until you actually, anyway, you can do it in that order, but just bear in mind that I think, yeah, you have to be quite within a week, you still have to enter the application in. And to enter the application, I used the Excel spreadsheet that I shared with Thea, the template. And what I looked at is that what also helped me, it was because I was talking about things that happened years ago. I also used in Google one of the tools that was from this business day to this business day, how many hours are they? And that helped me calculate for a project how many hours were they, and then I divided that in the knowledge areas. And sometimes I didn't have the 6 knowledge areas. Sometimes I just had 4 or 3, but that still is okay. And yeah, and I applied for the CBA, and I was very close to be able to apply to the CBAP, but I still was missing some hours. But like, yeah, so maybe I'll do the CCBA and then see if I can do the CBAP later.
Okay, let's
That was
talk about
gutted.
that. Let's talk about that. I'm going to submit to you that if you have done analysis, if you've been a manager, if you've been a salesperson, if you've been a parent, you've been doing business analysis. You didn't call it that, but you still did the relationship building, stakeholder management, figuring out what the requirements are. You didn't necessarily document the requirements in the same way, but in some of those you do, you know. You figured out what they needed. I did a video at BBC, you know, have you ever taken care of someone else's child and they said they were hungry and you said, what do you want to eat? You figured out they wanted a peanut butter sandwich and you gave them a peanut butter sandwich and that was what they wanted. That's business analysis, guys. Doing professional organizing, leading a charity. You have experience that you haven't thought of as business analysis in the past, but you can claim those hours. So if you're really close to a CBAP, see if you can find volunteer hours or, you know, something, activity, a club that you helped run, a club that you participated in, a theatrical performance that you did. There are so many things that are business analysis in the way we're meaning it that you didn't know the names of before. Yes, Bob.
I never worked as a business analyst ever. I was everything else. But it essentially uses the same skills. So I pencil with the application. You can do it. And if you can at all stretch to go for the CBAP, I highly recommend that you do it. The test isn't really that much harder, and then you're done. It's just do it once, do it right, get it done, and then maintain it.
So if you don't want to do that, that's fine. But I want to encourage you that you probably have the experience that they're looking for. You just need to put it on there. And what Andrea was talking about is you have 7 days from the time you begin until the time they lock it down and you can't make any changes. So put it on your Excel spreadsheet first and then just transcribing everything over or transferring everything over makes a lot of sense. Especially since you can use Excel formulas to count up your hours and figure out your percentages, because you know you have a certain number of hours that are required in each of the knowledge areas, or in 2 of the 6 or 4 of the 6, depending on which certification you're going after. Any other questions? Okay, those of you who have committed to taking your certification, please contact me. I want to know, I want to be there for you. I want to be your accountability partner. I attempted to take my CBAP many, many years ago whenever my life was not organized. I was going through a hard time. I did not pass it. And then I started hearing people say, I can't be a good business analyst without a certification. And that made me angry because I know I'm a very good business analyst without a certification. And I wanted them to know it because they had test anxiety, they had dyslexia, they had other things that made them think they could not take the test. But now I'm taking the test. I've committed to it. I'm going to take it before the end of this year. And I've been putting it out there for everybody. Wouldn't it be horrible if I choked? But I'm going to take the test. I want to partner with you. So reach out to me. Let's partner on this together and let's work to help each other succeed. Okay? Reach out to me through LinkedIn. It's the easiest way because I'm on there every single day. And I want to be here for you. Andrea, I want you to let me know by DM how your daughter's collarbone is doing, okay? All right.
Oh, good.
Okay. Any other questions, folks? Okay. We will do the next chapter next week. We're going to do as well on the next chapter as we did on this chapter, if not better. You need to read the chapter. You have all of those hours of practice test questions on YouTube ready to go. If you want other resources, reach out to me. I probably have other things for you. Okay? I'm so glad to see you. Those of you who came on camera, you rock. I really appreciate it. I will see y'all next week. Oh, I'm sorry. Cliff, we are not having a meeting on July 4th, right?
Correct. That's not the next
Okay,
one,
so-
is it?
No, it's
Oh,
not
2
the
weeks.
next one. But July 4th, in 2 weeks, we're going to skip the evening so that all of us can go out and shoot off fireworks and try to keep all our fingers. So we're going to skip July 4th because it's Independence Day in the United States, and it's right close to a weekend, so a lot of people are going to have long weekends. One thing I want to note, and I'm sorry I waited till now, we're going to be sending an email out to all people who are registered as members of our chapter. We're asking you to please ratify our bylaws. We've updated them. We're trying to get everything official and smart and strong and straight, but we need our membership to vote. And so we're giving you a little bit of time to do it. Please just vote yes or no and let us know if you see any horrible gaps. We'll work on fixing those next time, but we need a yes or no answer from everybody if possible. So watch your emails for those. If you don't get it, check your email ID in the IIBA's website to be sure it's the correct email that they have for you. And we will see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Thank you.